Welcome back, everyone. I believe in my competitive stable list video, I talked about a specific deck type that I wanted to play around with a little bit, or it could have been when I was talking about the Beauregard Lionette deck. But anyway, it's an aggressive style build where your rival really struggles to block things because they don't know what they're allowed to block with. And in my philosophy video, I talked about how I'm much more of a control style player, so I thought I would take my own advice and experiment with something a little bit more aggressive. And the character I chose as the ship, the pilot for this deck, let's say, was Kendo Rappa. So Rappa is a 6 hand size 28 health character with evil, fire, and order as his symbols. This is an evil style deck, as you can see by the what is block, and if you don't hear baby don't hurt me after this question, maybe you're too young. Anywho, I'm just an old man. Rappa has two responses that make him very, very strong. He's got the first response, sacrifice 1 foundation. After you make a check to play or block with an attack, that check gets +2. So if I'm playing an attack offensively or blocking with an attack, I can sacrifice, usually a committed foundation, to get +2 to that check. Very, very good there. Very good at making him a string character. And then we have this response, once per turn, discard 1 card. After your non-throw punch attack deals damage, you may play it from your card pool as your next form. In a sense, giving your punch attack echo, but instead of spending a momentum, you discard a card from your hand. And that doesn't have to be an attack, like with Beauregard. You can discard a foundation and just play your punch again. And there are some really powerful punches that we have to play. So what does Rappa want to do? He wants to string, and he wants to punch. He wants to hit things. He wants to brutalize people with a flurry of fists. So let's see which punches I've chosen. You will see there is one non-punch here, but we'll get to that in a minute. First off, Attack Titan's Haymaker. This is one of the best attacks in the game, in my opinion. It's a 5/3, 4 mid for 5, 2 high block, shift, stun 2, punch Titan. It's got a blitz that says this attack cannot be blocked by cards with a printed difficulty of 2 or less. So difficulty being this number up in the top left corner. You still can't see my mouse for some reason. But you have a 5 difficulty here, so you're not allowed to block with anything that has a 2 difficulty or less. And then when it's shifted, so shift is a static that says at the start of your end phase, when you clear this card, or when you clear this card during the end phase, if you played it this turn, not just like added it to your card pool with an effect, you may build it transformed into your stage, and it turns into Aaron's Determination, which says enhance mill 1, your attack gets +1 damage, but if you have 10 or less health, it gets +2 instead. So more damage that we want to ramp up on our punches. So what this deck aims to do is make almost every attack difficult to block in some way or another. Either you can't block with certain cards, or you get certain penalties on block. And Titan's Haymaker is definitely one of the more tricky ones because, when people are trying to block, they're looking at the block modifier, not the difficulty. So now saying, hey, you need to watch both numbers can really put the stress on your rival. Next up is Polar Demon Gouge. This is from the Jin Kazuma deck from the Tekken 8 starter decks. This is a 6/3, 4 mid for 7, 0 low block, EX3 and punch. EX3 meaning we can spend X momentum, and for each momentum spent, this attack is +3 speed. And it has enhanced your rival's check to block this attack gets -3. So again, a block trick or an anti-block trick, making it hard for our rival to block our attacks. And let's just say, attack Titan's Haymaker and then discarding a foundation for Rappa's once per turn to attack Titan's Haymaker again, if you're already guaranteed to get that damage through, or Polar Demon Gouge, especially if I can sacrifice, I check a 5 the first time I play it, commit 1 foundation, play it again with Rappa, check a 5, sacrifice that committed foundation, I didn't have to commit anything. And I throw 14 damage at my rival, and each time they're trying to block this attack, it's getting -3. That's really solid, and that low block, that 0 low, can really come in handy. we have Haymaker. This is a fun block and anti-block trick. This is a 5/3, 4 mid for 5, excuse me, with a 2 mid block. It's got Breaker 1, Flash, Fury, and Punch. Breaker 1 is a response that says if I block with this card, my rival's next check gets -1, and failing that check will end the combat phase. With the Flash keyword, it's a static that says skip this attack's enhanced step. So we go straight from the response window of playing the card straight to block. We're just going straight at it. No thinking, no breaks, all gas. As has 2 other responsibilities. The first is, if we block with this card, our rival has to play an attack as their next form, or discard 1 card. So comboing that with the breaker means you're either going to have a really difficult time, committing multiple foundations to play another attack, or you play a foundation to eat the breaker, maybe build out, and you have to discard a card anyway. So defensively, this card's really strong and is very underutilized. I love this card. And then another response, after we play this attack, so as an attack, it gets +1 damage for each card committed to pass its check. So this is actually a 5 diff that we want to play later in a string, because if we commit, 3 foundations or 4 foundations, this is like a 4 mid 8, 4 mid 9, and if our rival's all tapped out, and they can't block because it's flash, so they can't reduce its speed, our rival's just going to have to eat that damage. So, again, kind of messing with the block state a little bit in that we're not letting our rival play their defensive abilities. So, really just stacking on the pressure, the offensive pressure on our opponent. We have Knuckle Sandwich, a 4/3, 2 low for 5, 2 low block, punch, and combo with a punch. And the combo means that in order to use our combo enhance, the card immediately preceding Knuckle Sandwich in our card pool has to have the punch keyword. And the combo enhance is this attack gets +2 speed, but if our rival has taken damage this turn, it also gets +2 damage. So as a 4 difficulty, this can become a 4 low 7, which is pretty good. That is a pretty good rate on a 4 diff, especially when you combine it with the other enhance. If our rival tries to block this attack with a non-attack card, their check gets -2. If they don't throw an attack in front of this to block with it, their check's going to get -2 and they're going to eat possibly 7+ damage. What if our rival's attack or hand has no attack cards? What if all they have is foundations or assets or actions? Then they cannot block this attack. Well, they can. The check will just get -2. But if you string out and you're like, hey, this gets the combo, so it's 4 low 7, and I managed to stack 3 more damage on it, and it's like my 4th attack, maybe I've played this twice because of Kendo Rappa's ability, so it's the 2nd time I'm doing this, your rival's just going to have to eat damage if they can't pass those blocks because of the check hacking you're allowed to do. Really, really dangerous. This one's kind of more just cheeky. It's Flurry of Punches at 4/3, 4 mid for 4, 2 high block, charge, EX2, and punch. If we have 10 or less health, this attack gets +2 damage. So if our rival's been beating us up, this attack just gets stronger. And as an enhance, our next attack gets +2 difficulty, +3 speed, and +3 damage. Imagine stacking that on a Haymaker, making it a 7 mid 8. Sure, you have to play it on a 7, but, I mean, if we're really ready to just throw down. Or imagine playing this as your opener, and you say, my next one gets 2 difficulty, 3 speed, 3 damage. And then you use Kendo Rappa's ability to play this from your card pool as a 6 diff. Check at 5, you have to commit 1 foundation, but this is then a 7 mid 7, that you can then, if you wanted to, use the enhance to give +2 difficulty to your next attack and get 3 speed and 3 damage, doubling up on that +3/+3, because we can always get +2 to our check to play our attacks by sacrificing a foundation. Kind of mitigates the danger of that card a little bit and allows you to throw a ton of damage at your rival. Next up is Low Blow, another fun one. It's a 4/3, 3 low for 3 with a 2 high block, Breaker 2, and Punch. So again, if we block with this card, our rival's next check gets -2. And Enhance, if this attack is not blocked, our rival has to commit 2 foundations. they have to give up a block in order to block this, or they commit 2 things. And then what if we follow that up with a knuckle sandwich and they didn't have another low block? Or they don't have an attack, and now they have to deal with the -2 to their check to block. Ridiculous. Both offensively and defensively, this is not a very strong attack. But considering what it can do to mess up your opponent's board state, doesn't need to be too strong. And finally, Besiege, the only non-punch attack in the deck. It's a 3 difficulty, 3 control, 3 mid for 4 with a 1 mid block, charge and fury. As a blitz, it can only be blocked by cards with a printed block modifier of 3 or greater. Tossing this at the end of a string and putting a buttload of damage on it, maybe something like the flurry of punches, making this a 6 mid for 7, and our rival just can't block with a +3 block modifier because of, you know, they've chain blocked us, so they're just gonna have to eat that damage. Really, really good. And as a deadlock blitz, so if our rival has at least 11 foundations in their stage, this attack just gets +4 damage for free. So imagine that, your rival's in deadlock, you flurry of punches, you play Besiege on a 5, because it's only a 3 diff, it gets 3 speed and 7 damage. Becomes a 6 mid 11. 7, 4, yeah, a 6 mid 11 on a 3 diff. Technically 5, 6 plus the progressive difficulty if all you played was a flurry of punches, but again, we can compensate for the increased difficulty. We're allowed to string wider because of this aggressive response to sacrifice a foundation in order to get bonuses to our checks. Really, really powerful here. Onto our non-attack cards, we have Vertical Maneuvering Equipment, a 2/5 with a 1 mid block. It's an asset. Enhance, spend 1 momentum. This attack is +3 or -3 speed, and we may change its zone. We can make your attacks high, so we can block it with a low blow. We can make your attacks mid and block with Haymaker. And reduce your speed, because obviously if we're giving up our foundations on offense, we're going to want some pretty solid defense, and turning all of these punches that connect into -3 speed and a zone change is really, really good. Plus, as an enhance, we can commit it to get +2 damage, and if the attack deals damage to a backup, ready this asset. But just a free +2 damage at the end of a string as needed, if we know that we're just gonna, KO them and not need the defense. Pretty good. On to actions, we have Barrier Shield, one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. Certainly one of the top 3 best actions. It's a 2/5 with a 2 high block, ally keyword. It doesn't count towards progressive difficulty, which is good in case we need to play the bottom enhance or block with it. Bottom enhance being your rival cannot add cards to their hand during this attack due to their non-character effects. So if your rival's playing a lot of draw and you just want to shut that down, you can barrier shield them. But mainly you're playing this for the other enhance. Removing this card, reduce this attack speed to 0. The next card you play gets Breaker 2. So turning any of these cards, into a low blow Breaker 2. With, a zone change from Vertical Maneuvering Equipment, or just you barrier shield so you reduce their speed to 0. Kind of hard to fail a block like that. And of course then we have Showdown, a 3/4 with a 3 high block. Response, after we block with this card, our rival we get to selectively commit 2 rival foundations. We turn their best 2 pieces sideways for blocking with this, and imagine if we then gave it Breaker 2 because of Barrier Shield. Instant turn ender. And then response, commit 2 foundations. After our rival plays an ability on an action card, we can cancel it. So if our rival attempts to barrier shield us in return, we can cancel that by committing 2 foundations, which then we would likely destroy with Rappa in order to boost our checks. And lastly, a backup that I'm growing very fond of, Sean Gilmore, a 3/5, 4 stamina, +2 mid block, ally, unique, mage, party. While it is in our stage, our character is the mage. Our magic is punching. And enhance, commit, your next check is +2. We're just going to string wide and try not to use our character ability. to sacrifice our foundations, but we're just going to keep punching over and over and over until our rival just gives up. That is the whole goal. So onto foundations, we have Daring Swordplay, a 2/5, 2 low block with the Breaker 1 keyword. Enhance, commit, this attack gets +2 speed. If it is blocked, your next attack gets +1 speed. So again, making our attacks harder to block, but also, if they do block, our next attack is a little harder to block. We have Tarot Reading, a 1/4 with a 3 high block. Enhance flip, name a card type, then reveal the top card of your deck. If the card matches the named type, we get to add it to our hand. Basically, we are always going to name attack, so that if we flip over an attack on top of our deck, we can just draw it. That's more fuel to the fire. And it gets a 3 check off top of our deck. We have Kazuma style combos, a 1/5, 3 low block, enhance flip. Our attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. Pretty simple, just flips for extra stats. We have Feral Shriek, a 2/5, 3 high block. Response remove, after we discard this card during the combat phase, we get to draw a card. So after we use Kendo Rappa to basically echo our punch, we get to draw a card. And response, after our rival's combat phase begins, we may discard 1 card and draw 1 card. Next, Rifle Arm, a 2/5 with a 3 low block and the weapon keyword. Enhance commit, this attack is +2 or -2 speed. If this is the only attack in its owner's card pool, it gets +3 or -3 speed instead, making that first attack really hard to block, or at least making our rival commit more foundations so the rest of our string can get through. We have Incubating, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. Enhance, remove 1 card from your discard pile. This attack gets -1 speed. Pretty self-explanatory. Fighting for Control, this is a 2/4 with a 3 high block. Response, rival's turn. Flip, after your rival makes a check to play a non-foundation card, that check gets -2, but failing it will not end the combat phase. But this is great to especially punish if your rival checks a 3 on their first attack. Maybe it was on a 5 diff. Well, now they checked a 1. So do they want to commit 4 cards, or do they want to give up that attack? Or if your rival plays a City Rampage and checks a 3, do they want to commit 4 cards or give up City Rampage? Or even if they check the 5 on City Rampage, do they want to commit 2 or give up City Rampage? It's just good to put that extra stress on your rival. We have Condescending Explanation, a 3/5 with a 3 mid block. As our first enhance, we can remove this and spend 1 momentum to flip this attack. Just turn it face down, that attack didn't happen, you don't have to worry about it anymore. We don't really have a use for momentum in the deck except for defensively, so this is a good way to use it. We have Defending Pageant Queen, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance remove, reduces attack speed to 1. Like I said, we want to use our character ability as little as possible, but especially if we're using it on offense, we want to be able to defend relatively well, and really shoring up our defense by reducing our rival's speed is a good way to do that. Next up is Hot Blooded, a 2/5, 2 low block, the unique keyword, which means we can only have 1 of it in our stage at a time. Enhance flip, if our rival has blocked this turn, this attack's speed and damage cannot be reduced below printed. So this is a great way that if our rival has blocked, we can just make sure that our big attack that we're throwing, maybe like a Polar Demon Gouge or a Haymaker, if our rival's got a lot of DR on board, or we're playing like a Grog, we can just not let that speed and damage be reduced. But I really like the Rappa form here. Once per turn, our next attack gets +1 difficulty, +2 speed, and +2 damage. So very much like a flurry of punches that we can repeat on every turn, once per turn, and then offset the increased difficulty with our character's response to get +2 to our check. We have Lust for Battle. This is a 1/5 with a 3 mid block. Response remove, after this card enters your discard pile during the combat phase, your rival's next check gets -1. Failing the check will not end the combat phase. But we can destroy this for our character's +2 to our check, and give our rival's next check -1. Or we can discard this with our character to echo our punch, basically, and give our rival's next check to block -1. So really useful either way, either if we're destroying it or discarding it. Then we have Looking for a Challenge at 2/5 with a 3 high block. As a response, after this card is committed due to a rival effect, our next check gets +3, playable while committed. It's a tenacious response. So if they stun us, our check to block is +3. Absolutely, let's do that. If they force us to commit it on our turn, our next check to play an attack is +3. Awesome. Enhance, commit, and flip. Our next check to play or block with an attack gets +2. So a little bit of using our character's response without having to destroy a card. We just have to commit one. And then that makes that really easy to blow up to use our character. We have Key Charge Strike, a 2/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance Flip, your attack is +2 speed. If you have dealt damage this turn, your attack is +2 damage. So a bit of the Knuckle Sandwich combo enhance, but on any of our attacks. So pretty good for a flip. And lastly, Jin's Heart, a 2/6 with a 2 low block. Enhance Commit. If this attack deals damage, your next attack gets +3 damage. So really laying on if we have like a Titan's Haymaker that they just can't block, or we just know they can't block because we've boosted the speed with Flurry of Punches or Hot Blooded, then we just commit this and say, hey, my Besiege coming in, my next attack is probably a Besiege, is coming in with an extra 3 damage. And there's nothing you can do about it. So that is my first foray into a hyper aggro Kendo Rappa block this if you can. I really don't know if my locals are going to want me bringing this to just say catch these hands, but I'm probably gonna. And when I do, I can report back how it worked with my last week Wednesdays that I've been doing. But yeah, let me know what you think of the deck. Do you enjoy this kind of hyper aggressive style of gameplay? It's not normally for me, but who am I to judge? But let me know in the comments below, or if you have another character you want me to take a look at and kind of get a Hermit take on, I'd be happy to do that. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the algorithm things, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.